Welcome to Bogside Chats, where we're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms and keeping it casual. My name is Matty Pesk. Tonight I am joined by Franz. Bud, how we doing?
Not great. I'll be honest with you.
What?
It's allergy season. Getting hit hard, but it's also playoff time, and everyone's a little banged up, and the greats they just play through,
Yeah,
and that's what
yeah.
we're gonna do tonight.
Oh, I got the playoff beard going, so
You
yeah.
do. So
Uh, hopefully, Guy Kid joins us a little bit later. He has household duties he's got to attend to, but
it's his kid's birthday, and he
I
wanted
was
to
I
leave
wasn't gonna
that,
say that. I don't know if we're gonna say that, but
and he wanted to leave that to podcast. What a
yeah,
bad
it's so
father.
rude, so rude.
I don't know.
But tonight we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. There was a lot of cool AMA notes. There's a lot of updates about pets we want to talk about. We want to touch on a big vote that happened. Or I shouldn't say vote. The request for comment.
A vote for comments.
Vote for comments. But before we get that, I do want to touch very quickly at the top here. There was a MetaMask update recently, and it did kind of mess with at least Clayton. I don't think it touched anything in the DFK chain.
No, it's DFK as well.
It was.
It was all MetaMask.
So anytime, all right. So MetaMask had an update that basically was stalling.
You want me to take over?
Yeah,
here?
you talk about it. I mean, because it was resolved, so I don't really like. I don't know. You talk.
No,
about
it was resolved, which is the good thing.
Yeah.
It was making it so that you couldn't start a new transaction until your last transaction cleared.
I see.
Which totally destroyed all of the quality of life improvements they've made. I mean, just think about the multi-hatching. We're doing, 50 hatches in a row in a matter of seconds. All kinds of different things. I mean, the multi-quest queue is the biggest, right?
Right.
So that would have been pretty bad for DFK, right? Not just the quality of life stuff, but the idea that they said they were going to need to go back and rework some things. So my initial reaction was like, oh shit, here's another thing that came up
I know.
that now they're going to have to spend the next 3 to 5 months fixing this, and we're not going to get new content. Like I was pretty upset by it. I'll be honest.
I mean, it sounds like I didn't think this because like I didn't think it was that dramatic, or maybe I just didn't understand the technology. But it sounds like you had like Harmony hack like flashbacks.
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
big time. I was sitting in the shower with the water on, fully clothed,
I get it.
in the corner, just shaking back and forth. It was bad. No, but it turns out that it was just a bug on the MetaMask side. I thought maybe they were doing it to like stop botting or things like that. I don't know why they would, but like I was just trying to rationalize why would MetaMask make that change?
Yeah.
But it turns out it was just a bug in the update. We're good to go. MetaMask is gonna fix it. Full steam ahead.
Beautiful.
To crafting and gameplay and all those other great things we're waiting for.
It is. This is maybe I'm already going a tangent off the agenda, but
let's do it.
And there's no answer to this, but MetaMask is sort of the universal wallet. Do you have any fears that MetaMask messing with stuff will screw up DeFi Kingdoms? You know what I mean? Because it's like they're at the whims of MetaMask, and like so is everybody pretty much. Because MetaMask is like the wallet that like everybody uses.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I think this was kind of like a big wake up call that like, holy shit, they could do something at any moment. There are other options though, and that's the thing. Like, MetaMask isn't storing your wallet. They don't own your wallet. It's not an explorer. That's not the right word, but it's a way to access your wallet in a user friendly way. You can load up that same wallet on Coinbase Wallet. There's one that Bob Nothing was talking about, Rabby Wallet that he's been using. So like there are other options from that perspective. And Mellow Green Giant saying the same here.
And so, maybe I need to do more research personally because MetaMask is like all I know pretty much. I mean, I know Coinbase Wallet existed, and I kind of
heard
played around.
Pretty shitty.
I played around with it like years ago, and wasn't really interested. And then, I know other wallets exist, but like I've never really spent the time like looking into stuff like that. So maybe I need to just do some more research myself.
Yeah, I mean that's crypto. That like
I know
everything that you think is safe is like now there's this news that Ledger apparently there's a backdoor type thing to your private key on Ledger hardware wallets. So like it's just every time you think something's safe and stable, like, oh, FTX, the biggest exchange out there, boom, done. Like it's that's crypto.
I've been very close to buying a cold wallet. I haven't. I think you have. I don't want to blow up your spot and say you have, but
we don't talk about these things. This is like crypto 101.
But I've been very close to, and now I'm like turned off on that whole thing.
Get a Trezor.
I mean, is that safe?
Until we find out otherwise.
Right. Yeah. All right.
Nice
sorry.
Let's get back.
Yeah. That was a tangent. Let's get back to the AMA. So today is the 16th. They had an AMA on the 12th last Thursday. It was really cool. They had Hubert talk for a ton of time in this one. And he gave a lot of details on crafting, on recipes, and on a lot of cool stuff. There were a couple notes I just want to mention, and we can talk about these a little bit, but it sounds like level 10 quests are very close.
Yeah.
I mean, I say soon TM, but I mean,
I kind of thought we were going to get them last week. So
you think it's like very, very soon, like
I mean,
a week or two?
I don't know anything more than the next person, but I think this week. I'm hoping for this week. I mean, because that's kind of the biggest
pets,
part.
Right?
Yeah, it's the biggest part of this gigapatch. We've gotten a lot with the gigapatch, but it's still there's still that little bit more, and that's going to kind of change the way the game's played, because now all of a sudden our pets, we have to assign our pets strategically. We're going to see how the economy kind of reacts with different drop rate. Well, first off, we don't really even know. Like, we're all kind of talking about the way pets are going to affect the drop rate, but we're all kind of conceptualizing it in terms of level 0 quest drops. Like, we still have to see what the drop rates. Like, are there going to be new items with the drop with the level 10 quest?
I mean, they talked about this many months ago of like crafting items being a new kind of category of items, like raw materials sort of thing, of like the raw lumber or whatever,
So I remember I'm going way back here.
I know, this is old,
do you remember Sarah from Gaia?
No.
It was that person that was involved in another project.
Oh, yes. It was they ran a Discord.
It was a guy going by the name Sarah from Gaia. They I forget the coin.
It was an OTC like exchange, right?
No, I think it was another GameFi project, and it was. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent, but Sarah from Gaia wrote this Medium article about like looking in the source code and finding things that were for level 10 quests, like lumber was one of them, and like this was so long ago. I'm sure a lot of it changed, but
that's cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, now Scoop is saying no new items for level 10 quests. Just an extra roll.
I don't. So, is that we got a source on that, Scoopy?
Scoopy's the source.
Scoopy's the source. Quote it to Scoopy.
And Mellow Green Giant is agreeing. So.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
No offense to Scoopy, but I mean, iOS code is backing him up.
two sources. That's what we need. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, but I mean, I think regardless, I mean, I'm sure they'll do, and they said that like Zipper was working on like the documents to like support all these updates. So I'm sure there's like a master. We'll get like they gave us that cool, they gave us all the info in the Medium article about like the pet, or not pet, the crafting, all the info and stuff like that. So we'll get like a dump like that too, I'm sure, about level 10 quests and how they work. Hopefully within a week or two. I don't know. We'll see.
I think this week. I'm putting it out there. It's going to be this week.
Wow. Yeah. You heard it here first. Bogside chats. All right. Another quick note here before we get into like equipment and crafting. The Dark Summoning event was last week, and then they did the raffle for the
Did you
items.
Win anything?
I didn't. I was pretty upset about that because I did a lot of, well, not a lot, but I did like 20, 23, no, 21, I think.
Wasn't there a minimum of like 30?
Yeah, well, no, there's tiers, and like I was in the mid tier.
I didn't participate, so I'm trying to build up that army.
But most interesting thing that I pulled from this, and that they said was 17,000 heroes were burned in that week, and so I guess I normally pose it like openly, but I guess I'm asking you directly now, Franz. is this is the this burning these heroes being burned. I want this to be the standard all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I want this to be a regular number that is being burned every single week. Do you think if they kept that tier discount at 50% as the regular cost to dark summoning, that these numbers would be like this every week?
Well, so before I kind of answer that, something
Yeah.
interesting that I heard on Grady's stream either earlier this week or at the end of last week with Ogre, but I think he said that Bolon told him that the number of heroes still increased even with this like during the dark summoning event. Like,
okay.
this summoning itself was outpacing the dark summoning. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's tough to say, right? Is the tier discount? Do you think that the tiers and the cost of dark summoning is really what's stopping people, or do you think that it's the idea that you're losing? You're putting in 2 heroes, getting 1 out, right? I tend to lean towards the idea that there was this event and there was this, these prizes and the potential for a Gen 0 and things like that were kind of spurring on the dark summoning. I don't think it was just the tier rebate. Like, and again, I don't do a ton of dark summoning, but like, do you think that people see the cost of dark summoning as far as tiers and go, oh, that's why I'm not doing it?
I think it's one hurdle, and I think you're right. I think it was the giveaway with the Gen 0 in it, the discount, the 50% upfront discount, and then the rebate afterwards was sort of like all three together made it like why it was 17,000 that got burned. However, I'm sure it would be an increased number if they said like, hey, we're announcing a decrease in price of something, whether that's the crystal cost, the tiers cost, or whatever it may be. If there's a discount, it's going to increase. That's just how.
Sure.
It would work, and I think that's a better solution to hero inflation. I mean, I've said that multiple times. Is like, I think increased dark summoning, however you want to make that happen, is the better solution.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't know we were gonna get full swing into this topic, no, I still kind of stand by the idea that it's that dark summoning itself is the most OP way to get the best heroes. Sure. I don't think it needs to be changed at all. I think the solution is other hero burning mechanisms. Shout out to Dags, who's in the audience here. When we were on Sarge's panel on this topic, he brought up the idea of I think we ended up calling it retiring heroes, where you can throw a hero in the pit, not get a hero back, but instead get back the tiers used to summon it, the crystals that you used on it, if it had a stone on it,
or parts, basically.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Or maybe not, get them back 100%, but like have a chance based on rarity to get them back.
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting way to do it. More perilous journey type events. I think, and no one from the team has said this, but I think right now we're kind of at a place where it's hard to add more of those things because there isn't enough there aren't enough different good items that they can give back. Like, really, it's the stones and the crystals. Yeah. And so with any type of burning mechanism, you're going to start inflating those kind of categories, right? I think we need more diversity within the items for stuff like that to work.
I think you're right. I think you're right. If it's exactly what we're talking about, of like, you get the tiers back and the crystals back, like, it's kind of a chicken and the egg situation. It's just gonna go back and forth forever. But would you be interested in something where either a perilous journey or some sort of like scrapping or disassembling of the hero, where you got random items, where you got maybe 5 bloaters? I mean, that's a bad example, but you got maybe a random potion or something like that. Like,
I mean, again, until there's kind of utility for the potion, so until we have combat, I don't see them being able to make it attractive enough.
Yeah.
Without just making it all crystals and
straight up
crystals and stones.
Here's the cash. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think that's something that can work once we have more utility for these things, and once they're, once combat starts, how many potions are there right now? There's 2 health, 2 mana. There's
mana.
Okay. There are 10 plus potions when you think about the swiftness
Right.
potion, the
Sure.
toughness.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you have a
I think
lot
it's
of
8.
different
I think it's 8, but
options.
still, yeah.
Well, there's one for each stat, isn't there? Plus the
No,
health and the stam. Okay.
there's not. Yeah.
Interesting question from Scoopy here.
Yeah, I was about to pull it up. So all right. I'm gonna segue. I'm going way off the off script here. This question leads.
I didn't read the agenda, so.
Oh, thanks.
You're good.
Yeah. This question leads to the current vote, or not current anymore. The vote is closed, right? The request for comment that the team put out there about cooldown time being increased on. Actually, they didn't specify Gen Zeros or not, did they?
Sorry, I was distracted because Dags is backing me up in the way I say mana.
It's mana. But,
sorry, say it again.
So the question that Scoopy posed reminds me of the request for comment, and one thing about the request for comment they said is that yes, the question from the outset was like, are you interested in maybe talking about this, or no, I'm not interested in talking about it right now. And I think I voted yes, because I want to hear what Hubert, because Hubert said he originally wanted the cooldowns to be longer, and like other team members told him no. And so I want to kind of hear Hubert out like more at length as to what he envisioned. And this goes to Scoopy question of like, did they have an end game in mind when they were originally designing these heroes? And I think Hubert's a really smart guy, and I think he did. And I want to kind of get that from him and sort of hear his thought process on why he wanted the cooldowns to be longer, and why potentially he have a supply of heroes in his mind, globally, when he was creating this whole process. And how is that different from what it is right now, if at all? So I would love to kind of like pick his brain, because I think they had somewhat of a vision of it, but they knew it was going to change with people playing and stuff like that. And I think Scooby brings up a good question of like, how much are they willing to mold it into what they want it to be versus letting the community kind of mess with the ecosystem.
Yeah. I mean, Hubert kind of gave his thoughts in a very quick version in the last AMA, that he was basically saying that, basic supply and demand, if we lengthen the cooldowns, it's going to raise the cost of Gen 1s. And, I think he I don't know if he actually said this, but like just lessen the amount of heroes out there.
Right.
To me, it kind of comes down to, and I was very much for no, do not change anything. I've come around and changed my mind and said they should be lengthening the cooldown. I think it comes down to what?
I want to clarify. I'm not voting for an increase in the cooldown. I'm voting yes on this because I'm open to like hearing what they want to say about this.
Yeah,
and,
no, I
why. Like I don't know if a cooldown increase is actually good or not, but for this request here, I want to hear what their plan is.
Well, you could take a stand and show some conviction, but either way,
wow.
No, I just, to me it comes down to development time, and how long is it going to be before we do have combat, right? They know the answers to these questions. So if this is something that they're kind of behind, it makes me a little bit more, on that side of it, right? If we're going to have combat in another 2 months, right? Then I'm leaning on the side of no, don't change anything. We're good. If it's going to take, 3 to 5 months, if then PvP and crafting and stuff are going to, take even longer than that, which I think it's realistic to say that those timelines, that might be what it is.
Yeah.
What number of heroes are we going to be at by the time that happens? I mean, right now in our current environment, I don't see an issue with the prices of heroes, the amount of heroes. I think the idea that all these heroes can do right now is quest is really hurting the item costs.
Yeah.
Because every new hero coming into the game is questing.
That's all they do.
And it's that much more Swift Thistle and that many more bloaters and, Rockroot and everything coming out. So, I don't know. I agree with you that I'd like to hear more from the team. I'd like to hear from Frisky a little bit. Like, I feel like on some of these topics, they kind of, Hubert is their spokesperson for the game dev stuff. And I know that he's leading that portion of it. So, what he says is paramount. but like, this was Frisky's game at the very beginning. I'm sure he has a strong opinion on this as well.
Yeah.
And the rest of the devs as well. Like, I want to hear all of that.
No, I agree. I think that's why I voted yes, is because I want to hear them kind of really pitch me and sell me as to why this is something they feel might be necessary. Or if they don't, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're just curious on what the community thinks,
Well, what I want to know, and then I kind of want to get back to Scoopy's question, because you kind of used it as a segue, and then we never answered it. So like right now, the vote was at 58% no and 41% yes. Mm-hmm. Did they specify a threshold as far as?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Like when we start talking, like almost half the community thinks that we should discuss it further. Is that enough? Like,
yeah.
Was this a majority wins kind of thing? Did we have to get to 75%? Like, that's something that wasn't really talked about.
Yeah, and I hope, I don't know. I mean, I don't know in general. I can't speak for the entire community, but I hope that people would be willing to like listen if they have some ideas and they want to like throw out ideas and propose them. People would be willing to like listen to that. And this isn't like I voted no, don't talk about it anymore.
But there is also the other side of that, where, and I've heard some people express this on Discord, where, hey, now all of a sudden you're kind of just pitting the community against each other. It's like, here, go fight about this for the next month and a half. Like, this isn't what we should be focusing on. Is it a distraction? Was it planned distraction? I don't know. I mean,
no. What are you, conspiracy? What are you, tinfoil hat?
Yeah,
well, if they're doing this, what's going on behind the scenes, right? Is that what you're saying? Oh,
I don't know.
Wow.
But going back to Scoopy's original comment here, how do you kind of see this as ending up? I mean, MMORPG, I don't know, like in real time, like seeing people on the map, I don't know that we're gonna get that.
Yeah, well, no, maybe not, but I think they 100% envisioned like World of Warcraft is obviously a little bit different because you're right, you can see people running around and there's like usernames ahead over their heads, and I don't think we're gonna have a visual thing that looks like that, but I think there is going to be real-time decisions being made where people go to certain areas of the map and actions happen there or not happen there based on like what is available in that land. And I think that they do envision a sort of like active world. Now, granted, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be like a million people running around, like World of Warcraft has, but I think it's going to be sort of live like that. I think that's how they envision it, where you can go to a marketplace in one land and buy and sell equipment that's there, and then you can take it and sell it in another land, after whatever time it takes to travel. I think that's what they envision.
Yeah, they've already said that different lands are going to have different bonuses. So I think just the idea of land in general and travel, we're going to have different kind of... Sorry, I got an alert from the ADFK alert system. Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's a double Chatterbox legendary wizard on the market for
pretty cheap, right?
220.
It's still like there?
5 off the floor. I don't know if it's still there. I got it right before the show started. If anyone wants to go check that out. But no, what I'm more interested in than the travel, because I feel like, like what you said about the travel, we're going to be going to different areas of the map. There are going to be differences in the economy and kind of, crafting in different areas, what you can find in different areas, things like that. What I want to know is kind of with dungeons, like, will I be able to enter the dungeon with a guild or with multiple people, and what will that look like? Just even just alone, will my dungeon experience look like, like basic Zelda, like the first Zelda games, where I'm like kind of walking through? Or I guess Pokemon's kind of a better kind of comparison, because you're like entering a battle, or the Final Fantasies. I don't
think there's going to be like an open field where like your character's like maneuvering around. I think it's going to be more like Final Fantasy, where like you enter a battle and then go to the next thing and go to the next thing, where there's not going to be like roaming around the dungeon. You know what I mean? It's going to be like event, as you go through the dungeon. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know if that, is that really what we're talking about here? Is that you want to, I don't think there ever is going to be a time where you're like an individual character roaming around the map,
So then what's travel look like?
Like, did you watch the thing? The summit in AVAX?
There was a figure roaming around the map.
It was like, but it was like a token that like represented your like your legion going places on a very generic map. It wasn't like your individual running around, you know?
Okay.
Wow.
I don't know. This is all we're now speculating way far in the future, and
well, that was the question, though. I mean, I think he's talking about Endgame, and
I think the team has an idea
oh
of
yeah,
what
I
that
think
is?
well,
Yes, but I
think
think
they
it's
envisioned
subject
it.
to
I don't know if
change.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like there's definitely a vision in Hubert's head, in Frisky's head, and probably in Workhorse's head too, of what this looks like.
I mean, did you ever play Slay the Spire?
Yes, I was playing it on the train today.
Really? I didn't know you
Yeah.
played it.
Yeah.
I only have like dabbled with it, but I think it's gonna be something like that where it's like you go into the battle and the battle has its own screen and stuff like that.
So it's just a series of battles.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Maybe.
You think there's gonna be like roaming around, like?
All right. I mean, us going back and forth. You think so? You don't think so? Like, all right. Let's keep it moving here.
All right. One quick note too. Before we get into crafting, the skill level bonus. I thought this was an interesting little conversation. Can't get you into level 10 quests. Like your guy the hero has to have his profession at level 10 to get in. That one bonus that the pet has cannot get you into the level 10 quests. Mm-hmm. Do you see this? Something entering the lobby here? Oh, there he is.
What's happening?
Guy,
How are you, bud?
I'm glad you're here. Maddie and I were just starting to argue.
We were just arguing.
The chat wasn't enjoying it.
Oh, I am the peacemaker, and I bring beer.
Of course.
And a new background.
Is that a new background?
We'll see if we can keep that going. I slightly changed.
Yeah.
CCJJ, I agree.
So yeah, the idea of level 10 profession quest, I think that's the right way to do it.
I agree.
If if I have mining skill, that's mining skill. That shouldn't translate over to fishing skill just because I throw a pet on. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be so with level 10 professions quest, we know the experience is going to be kind of elevated because you're going to have extra roles. Yeah. Do we think that the profession growth, the profession skill gain is going to be elevated as well? Because
that's interesting.
If
like,
so,
it's usually like 0.1 or 0.2 or sometimes 0.3.
Yeah, it's kind of low, and it's not every quest, right? If we think that's going to be higher, then I see a scenario where I take my mythic gardening ninja that I always use it as an example because it exists. I throw the or I want to throw an innate angler on it and make it a fisher, right? But I won't be able to do the fishing quests until I get to that 10 profession score. So maybe I put the pet that increases your profession score on it, and I send it fishing
as level 0
using 7 stamina,
the
old school way, to gain that quicker using the level 10 quest, and then switch over to the innate angler. You know, these are going to be the things that are going to be fun to kind of figure out, right?
I agree. Yeah.
It's been a while since this community has had so much unknown. Mm-hmm. Like, and I said this last pod, right? For a while now, we've known exactly what the good strategy is, what the wrong strategy is, and we're all kind of just trying to refine it to the closest to perfect. Yeah. Now we're back in the situation of we don't know what the best is. We have to figure it out.
Yeah, it's fun. It's exciting too because it's like maybe you hit it and figure out how to do it perfectly, and like you just dominate. So it's very fun. All right. Okay, this is interesting. So we're going to talk about crafting and equipment. The first thing I want to talk about is something that we've seen this now because the pets showed that equipment menu. And actually, if you want to pull that up, Franz, if you have it.
Pull what up?
Like just pull up like
a hero. All right, got it.
So the slots that it shows for the equipment are 2 weapons and then the corresponding offhand, 1 armor, and then 1 jewelry generic.
Yeah, could I get a little bearish here? Complain a little? I'm going to stay sassy.
I don't think it's bearish. Yes, it's sassy. You could say sassy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be a little sassy.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Whoa.
Where is the helm slot?
Yeah.
Where are the boots?
No boots.
I'm a little upset by this. I'm going to be honest.
No boots and no helmets.
I expected, and I wanna make a AMA note asking about this.
Yeah.
But like, is this subject to change? Like, is this
I'm
the
sure
base
it
set of
is.
equipment and it's going to
mean,
expand? I wanted more.
I kind of agree. I think I understand your complaints, but also, I mean, they can't have too many tokens. It's going to get insane, you know?
I mean, think of Diablo, right? How many do you have in there? Think
Yeah,
of any RPG.
How much variability are we even going to have within these slots, though? So if you go back to the professions, you've got a blacksmith or an armor smith or a leatherworking, a tailorer. So even within like the base chest plate, there's going to be a lot of variability within that, which allows for a lot of customization. Yeah, do I wish there was a helm in a foot slot? Yes. Am I upset that's not going to be a day one thing? I don't think so.
Well,
I mean, they could add it later.
Yeah,
especially boots. I like the idea of boots as it wraps into travel. Right. Maybe something that iOS code was alluding to or speculating was the idea of mounts and them coming out of maybe gold eggs. So maybe the boot slot isn't as important then. But I was thinking for travel, the idea of like boots that make you faster. But just in general, like agility, like I feel like agility boosts are something that come from boots in these kind of games.
No question. And I think also helmets, like, that's, or not just helmets, but just like a head, maybe it's like a magic, whatever, that's like, a talisman that you wear on your head or whatever, I think that's a pretty generic fantasy game, trope. So, I mean, I think this is. I'm not as upset as you are, but like
here, iOS code Mellow Green Giant hit on exactly why I was very excited for helms. There are certain head appendages that I hate, and I want to cover them up with a shiny helm. Right. So, especially the bald heroes. Everyone's all about the bald heroes.
I love the bald heroes. How dare you?
Nope, not a fan.
I have a bald dragoon. I love him.
So the other thing that was being talked about a little bit. Where is it? I'm trying to find the comment. So the offhand,
right?
People were saying like ring 1 and ring 2.
Well,
I thought he said during the AMA that the amulet spot is for jewelry. Yes. So you can only have
that was WoW messing around.
One amulet or one ring,
one jewelry.
So what's the offhand for? Shields? Are we thinking?
Yes, I think number 1 shields or maybe potentially
gauntlets.
Like a dagger, like a parry.
I also think there's going to be a lot of equipment that's two-handed.
Right. So that hand is like occupied.
Your pole arms that you won't be able to put anything in that offhand.
I agree. And also too, this is what they said is that it's two equipment sets.
Right.
Like it's set 1 and set 2 that you can switch out mid-battle hypothetically.
But I guess I would rather forego that and have more, like, I don't know. And this is speculating without kind of knowing the way this is going to interact with gameplay. But how often am I really going to be using that secondary weapon on one of my heroes? Like to pull a bow and arrow out with my knight?
I mean, no, I don't think that will happen. But I will say, I mean, look at it's sideboarding basically. I think I'm using that term right. In a lot of like card-based games where you see your opponent has a certain loadout and you immediately want to switch to something else. I mean that's what this is for. I don't think this is. I mean, I'm talking about you can switch mid-battle, and I don't think that'll be as often as like you'll switch right away when you see what your opponent has,
And you're right. Like a good example, if I have a, fire sword of fire.
Right, exactly.
And they're a fire element, and all of a sudden I want to switch to like my water
sword of ice. Yeah.
Ice,
Yeah.
No, that makes sense, and I agree with that. I don't know. I just wanted the helm slot is something I really want. I don't really know why.
Fair complaint.
Like I want it.
Because you're an anti-visuals guy and you want to hide all your visuals.
No, but that was like my joking answer. But like I just expected a helm.
Yeah, right. I think it's a fair. Yeah. So I actually that was me in the AMA chat talking about the rings. And this is like a common complaint that like D&D players have. So D&D has a rule where you can only have 3 magical items attuned at any given time. So your character can only have like three magic items. But everyone says, like, that's bullshit. I have 10 fingers. Why can't I just wear 10 magical rings and be, like, the super-powered, monster? But they limit it to 3 items that you can be attuned to. So it's like a common joke in D&D of like, why can't I just wear 10 magic rings? And they said that you can only wear 1 jewelry, and that's that slot there that is it looks like an amulet. It looks like a necklace is what in the equipment slot. So
the legendary amulet.
Very curious, yeah. If amulets, if they fulfill that promise, holy shit. I mean,
yeah. No, I mean it's gonna come eventually, but it's gonna be funny, right? Because the same way that when we look at like Gen Zeros and the idea that there are the same amount of Legionnaire Gen Zeros out there as there are pirates or monks, right? But why do we see so many more of the Legionnaires of the newer heroes? Because the people that own the newer heroes are more recent in the game,
right.
and are active and stuff like that. The amulet, like I didn't get an amulet. None of us, we weren't early enough to get an amulet.
Right.
So most of the people that are going to be airdrop these amulets, maybe that's something that pulls them back in if they come back in to sell it and think like, oh, this is a lot different than when I left it a year and a half ago,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Those heroes do look priced very accurately, I'd say.
I mean, some would say that they're even negotiable, these prices, because they've been sitting here for a long time. So
negotiable.
These two.
Wait,
not this guy, not this Gen Zero over here.
This is the Bob's comment I wanted to bring up.
Right.
At least half. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I would say more than half with amulet.
I would say more than half.
I can't wait to hear.
Which is really funny.
To hear the Inner Grove guys' response when they get their amulets. All right. Let's move on. Crafting. Okay, so we got
Cassius had a good question.
Right, yeah.
Do you think you'll have to bond to the other equipment like a pet? I would hate to have a cooldown time for everything. I do think so.
Yes, yeah.
I don't think it should be as long.
No, I hope not, but
I think I should
be, yeah.
I would almost argue I don't think there should be any cooldown. If I have a legendary, fire sword of fire, I should be able to use it in one battle and then quickly switch it onto my next pair.
No, I don't. I think that
especially, and I'm jumping ahead, but especially if it's gonna wear down and break, that's my downside. If there was no durability, then sure, put a cooldown on.
That's the balance.
Right. I would say if items travel with you, I'm good with that. If you have a universal inventory, I feel like there needs to be some kind of cooldown.
Because if I'm in the top right of the map and my other heroes are in the bottom left, it's bullshit that the fire sword of fire it gets sent across the map. Yeah, that would be interesting.
But on the durability aspect, I agree with that.
Should we talk about that now?
Sure. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's talk about. All right. So we were going to talk about recipes, but we can wait on that. So all right, something they said about equipment was that equipment has a durability rating and does get deteriorated. I don't know if that's the right word, but does kind of break down over time.
Does deteriorate.
And eventually, and this is something that said that was interesting, and there you can repair it, but eventually there is a point in time where the weapon becomes no longer viable whatsoever.
Not usable.
Yeah. So the same, I'm assuming, we don't know for sure, but like the same crafters who created it can also repair it. Now, also, that's kind of interesting in terms of the recipes.
Wait, say that again?
I'm assuming the same crafters, not specifically the hero, but the type of crafting, are the ones who are going to repair that same item.
Okay, so to be clear, you're not saying that you have to have the recipe on a hero to repair it.
Well, that's my question, though.
Good. I hadn't thought of that, but that is
because a generic armor smith repair a weapon that they don't have the recipe to? I think is a very interesting concept of these recipes, which is why I want to talk about recipes first before we talked about durability. But so basically the people who can repair it are the ones I'm assuming who are the same crafter type in general. But I don't know if that recipe thing will come into play.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, of the idea of needing the recipe to repair said item. Because
is the recipe, or do you just need a certain skill level?
Yeah, to me, items. Like with if we're thinking like lore and canon here, not that there's much to go off of, but like just thinking about it in like a fantasy way, right?
Yeah.
If the Sword of Fire is already crafted and it just has some dings and dents in it,
right?
I don't technically need to know how it was built to repair it.
I don't know though.
If I'm a good enough blacksmith,
if it's the Fire Sword of Fire and you don't know how to make it, you could fuck with it by trying to repair it. You know,
I wonder
if it's like a regular greatsword, I get it. You're right, but like I said, like those mythic and like the Fire Sword of Fire, like a regular
and I think
can't
that
just do that. You know,
I think you can stay on the lore end just from crafting skill level perspective. Like if you're a master blacksmith, like even though you didn't create the sword, you should be able to repair it.
Yeah, and also just thinking logically and like practically about this, if we're able to sell pieces of equipment, which we are, right? These are going to be items that are going to be sold. Guy, are you unrolling like a Tootsie Roll? Like what are you doing?
That was a rattle. Is that one of your child's rattles?
I'm getting Paw Patrol ready for my 3-year-old on the phone tomorrow.
Very nice. Very nice. No, but if these are items that are going to be tradable, right? Why would I buy this great sword if I don't have someone that can repair it?
That's
right? If you need the recipe to repair it, why would you ever buy one in the shop? You wouldn't. So I think that.
I mean, if
that's
the bonus, if the
there.
bonus to PvP was like so, like there's a threshold there, where like using that sword, even the few times you can use it before it gets broken, it brings you to the top of the leaderboard and you get some awesome achievement. It might be worth it. And then the sword breaks, no one can fix it. So be it. You just like got some sort of huge win from that, you know?
Yeah, I just think that practically and kind of user experience, that wouldn't be good if you need the recipe to repair it.
I think you're right. I think you're right in general, but like I don't know. I could see it. It could make recipes like super interesting and very valuable as tradable items. You know?
Yeah, I think that would go too far the other way. I agree with France.
But as far as recipes are concerned, right?
Right.
You consume the recipe. It goes away. You don't have it anymore. It's now bound to that hero.
Correct.
It's gonna make it very interesting on the tavern. Like we're now, when we're thinking about professions, PvP, crafting, and now these recipes, right? Because So all right. So once you have a recipe, and this is another, we need more from Hubert on recipes. But once you have a recipe, you have it forever. I'm never throwing that hero in the pit.
No, unless unless the recipes carry over into the summons. Now I don't think this is what they're going to do, but it would be very, especially for 10 of 10s. I think it'd be very interesting, or Gen Zeros. I mean, it wouldn't make it'd be interesting, but would you teach, if you teach a hero a recipe and then they summon another hero, does the recipe then get carried over into the new hero, into the new summon? Probably not.
Again, I'm going to go back to the canon here and say it's essence of that hero being used. It's not. It's
like they're pulling from the whatever, the portal.
It's like that hero's coming out of Gaia's Inner Grove there, right? So
have you? Well, there's a joke there. I'm not going to make it. I think you're right. I think it's an interesting idea though, because like it would make those heroes so valuable if those recipes did get carried over, especially like.
Well, but it would also lower the value of recipes dramatically.
True.
Yeah. All of a sudden, I teach you to 10 of 10, or even to a Gen 0. Now all of a sudden, I'm spitting out recipes for the Fire Sword of Fire over and over again.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's probably not going to be carried over like that.
I think we're just solving issues for Hubert. Like all he has to do is listen to this, and crafting will be done. Like we did it, guys. We did it.
I mean,
we're figuring out a lot of issues here.
We did it. Yeah.
One stone at a time.
We did it.
I'm picturing the. Never mind. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think recipes are super interesting, and I think something he said was that recipes can be found in many different ways, and also there's going to be like rarity to finding the different recipes. So I mean, I think it's going to be like anything, like level 10 quests, PvP, other, I don't know, like any random thing you're doing with your hero. I think there's, or maybe training
quests.
Question mark. I think there's going to be a chance to find recipes anywhere, which I think is very interesting. He also said there's going to be a lot of recipes that are kind of like commonplace. It's going to be like a basic sword that like everybody finds all the time, you know? So I think it's going to be, I think recipes are going to be a fun kind of dynamic. And then also too, the economics of it, I think recipes now are going to be tradable. I'm assuming they're going to be ERC, what were you saying, Franz? What are the recipes going to
be? So that's the question, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is
are they gonna be
an
NFTs?
AMA question. I think I'm going to make a lot of AMA questions this week because I've said 3 times already. I got to re-listen to this tomorrow and just write them up.
Yeah.
But are the recipes going to be ERC20 tokens, or are they going to be ERC 1155?
Right.
What the scrolls?
The scrolls. Like the one is bound to your wallet, and the other one is not wallet, but
it's not. That's not the difference. The difference is with the 1155s, it's multiple different items can combine together to make one token. So like the theory with the scrolls, right, is that we're going to be able to put all 9 together to make like a bigger scroll. I don't know. But so with the recipes, right, am I going to find the recipe for the fire sword of fire and then I just have it? Or am I going to find like part 1, part 2, part 3? Because to me, that makes it a lot more rare and a lot more interesting.
Right.
And the tradability goes way up.
And I see. That's a very interesting question. I do want to hear their opinion, but I think it's going to be, you find the recipe for the fire sword of fire, and like that's the end of it. You have it, and then you can make the decision what to do with it after that. I don't think it's going to be like parts like that. I think that's just too
involved.
Yeah. What's the word? I don't know.
Difficult.
Tedious. Yeah. I think it's.
But
just
if all the parts are tradable, it's not too bad.
Yeah, but like, come on! I don't want to be. I'm trading for like part 1 of 3. I don't want to.
Part 1 of 20 for a like.
I don't know. I don't want to do that.
But again, if the recipe stays with the hero, and if the hero can make that item however many times, or like an infinite amount of times, then it should be that hard to acquire. Like,
maybe.
I don't want people stumbling upon a mythic recipe day one, and now they have this like almost Gen Zero-esque revenue stream.
Well, I think it's kind of fun though. I mean, not day one. You're right. I don't want it to be easy, but like I do want that to be found, and then that, especially if it's like a common ass like generic hero finds it. Now that hero, that NFT becomes so valuable. I think that's a fun concept in general.
Well, you would want to put it on a good crafter. I feel like if I found a mythic scroll, I would almost buy a mythic crafter
just to back it up. Yeah.
To bind it with.
Yeah. But I mean, I like the idea in general of like randomness of it, of like you send out 1,000,000 heroes on a quest, and like every like 1 in 100 they find a recipe, and every 1 in 16 recipes is like rare. You know,
right? Yeah,
and I think that's how it's going to be.
I mean, if you could tie land into it too, if certain recipes are only available in certain land, you can have like the travel component aspect of it.
I think they're going to do that with
that
crafting. Like, I don't think it's going to be recipe based. It's going to be crafting based. Or I don't know. That's a good question. I think it's going to be like you need to have a ironsmith at level 5 to make this. For this recipe to be like eligible,
but
you know.
All right, so wait, so going back to something that was said earlier, right?
Yeah.
I don't want recipes to be able to be found in professional quests or training quests at all. Fuck that. These need to be in dungeons. They need to be in PvE quests, in my opinion. Like
fair, but
which would then be in certain
which
would be in certain parts of the map, and like I'm thinking of like a Pokemon Go aspect where like the Charizard is at this area, and like. Yeah, if you want it, you're gonna have to go there, and it's gonna be hard to beat that dungeon, to get it, you know.
Yeah.
And you only have a certain, percentage chance of when you open that chest at the end of this really difficult dungeon. It's like what rarity recipe is gonna pop out. Very low percent chance of getting them.
Yeah, I like that.
Like make players grind these dungeons. But yeah, it's tough because it's like, well, then how long is it gonna be before we have this stuff?
Right.
I think that's the only reason I push back on that is because you need to have the recipes to do crafting, so they can't like go active. They can't go live with crafting and then have like it impossible to get any recipes. You know what I mean?
I think we see PvP and PvE before crafting.
I agree.
I think that's why they were being so tentative about.
Yeah.
Or Dreamer specifically was being very tentative about saying like, hey, crafting is a long way out.
Right.
Let's all just take it easy. Because like I think a lot has to happen for crafting to make sense and be kind of fun. Like it's not just about functionally making it so that you can craft and the different contracts. Like that's cool, great, but it has to like make sense within the game.
Yeah. All right, that's very cool. Yeah, I think you're right. But that makes me sad because it's so far away.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, yeah. So, all right, my agenda's all thrown off.
Can we talk about crafting?
Yeah, let's go back into crafting. What did you want to talk about with crafting? We talked about.
I have a lot of sick crafters.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So
yeah. Fran's bragging time.
Yeah, this is Fran's bragging hour. This is a new segment.
New segment.
I do feel like it's been weekly at this point.
Yeah.
we're putting it into a segment for the first time.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
No, and it's not bragging for the sake of bragging. I do that offline. I think there's alpha behind it. Shout out to Raph and Neindorf and their alert tool, which most people in the community have been using to find sick heroes for a long time now. I set up some easy alerts for crafters that have blue of the crafting. So let me pull up the crafting chart while I talk about this. So I set up alerts for blue stats, so double of each of these craftings with the matching element. And then I might up it, but I did 100 rating as the lowest. Like for blacksmithing, I didn't make it ninja, pirate, thief, or archer, or knight or warrior part of it. So those are just too low.
Right. Yeah.
And I set the max price at 100. So
100 crystal or 100 jade.
100 crystal or 100 jade. So significantly, like very cheap.
Yeah.
Essentially floor heroes. And in 2 weeks of doing that, I have, again, these are double of the crafting with the matching element. I have 3 blacksmith, 6 goldsmith, 4 armorsmith, 2 woodworking, 1 tailoring, no leatherworking yet, 3 enchanting, and 5 alchemy of those.
Shit.
Wow.
Each of them purchased under 100 crystal.
That's
So
awesome.
people are selling these without knowing what they have. I don't know. I kind of figured like if you see the blue, you're at least going to check the element and see what you have. But people are just throwing them up there. And a lot of them have been profession aligned. Like I've gotten a lot of wizards and seers that are gardeners, pirate foragers. So like to me, these are for the price, great heroes overall. And I've already started building my kind of crafting legion doing that.
That's super interesting. Do you think it's because people are just not paying attention, or is there do you think there's an active thing of like looking at it and being like, well, crafting's so far away, I don't care, or is it more kind of just like not knowing what they have? Because it might be a little bit of both, to be honest. Yeah.
So I've also searched the tavern, and I don't do this often, but I'll like put the filters up and kind of see what's out there. And usually you don't see it for under 200 crystal. Like these are popping up and I'm buying them immediately. But as far as ones that are sitting there, not seeing it for under 200. So I think these are people that are just summoning quick, selling quick, not really looking at what they have.
Well, and vast majority are commons and uncommons, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I got 1 rare. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, mostly commons and uncommons.
Yeah. Well, the rare is probably sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a priest enchanting, I think, which is, I mean, that's 120 rating.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Yeah. And like for these, like, I'm gonna make it higher than the rating, right? Because I'm doing like intelligence and vit for that priest.
Sure,
and then I'm putting I'm putting a crystal on, a lesser crystal for one of those two, whichever makes the most sense with the subclass. So like, I'm gonna outpace that 120 rating, not by much, but No,
but if you're leveling up specifically to be a crafter, then you can gain some,
Right. Like I have at this point, 70 something gardeners. That priest could be a shitty gardener. Like it's okay.
Well, no, I mean it's vitality, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's super interesting, and I'm curious in general on when do you think crafting stats will actually affect the market? I mean, because right now it seems like it's kind of like Wild West. No one's paying attention, and like, you know, fastest mover here is gonna profit. Meaning you, France. That's a compliment there.
No, this is funny, Wowie, because if you heard earlier, I stopped what I was saying because I said I just got an alert. It was
that one.
It was this blue woodworking monk for 88, but I didn't want to like stop what I was saying to go purchase it. So I'm glad it ended up in good hands.
But I mean, I think this isn't going to last forever, where people are not paying attention to this stuff. I mean, how long do you think you're going to run this little scam? Now that you've announced it, probably not much longer.
Probably not much. I mean, this is my test for how many people actually listen to us. if nothing changes on the market, then nobody's paying attention, caring what we say. But if things change, it's like, all right, we got some juice, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've already gotten your win, right? You've already got, what, 15 heroes under your belt?
Yeah, it sounds...
Yeah, it's like upwards of like 25 right now.
That's awesome.
I don't know,
very impressive.
But I think to your point though, like how long is this going to stay?
Right.
I mean, this was kind of what it was like with advanced abilities for the longest time, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is more rare because more things need to be lined up rather than just having one advanced ability that might pass on. Like the element match and all that.
Yeah.
So they'll be more rare, but yeah, I think people will catch on as it gets closer. As we start hearing in AMAs that like they're giving us more concrete crafting information. People will pick up on it.
Yeah. I think it's interesting now, and I think I might be setting up alerts too, so you might have some competition.
Got to be quick on the trigger finger, you know.
You're very
once that alert comes.
I know. We have like 2 or 3 alerts that are similar, and you always are quicker than me.
Well, that shout out to AP, Ben Force, and someone else who I'm forgetting. And I apologize for that. In the ADFK guild, we all had alerts set up for greater stone used under 100, and it was constant race. Kells was the other person. And it was always funny that whenever one hit, and I didn't go, I'd go right to the guilds like who got it, and one of them got it. You know, it's like goddamn.
Greater being sold under 100. Oof.
Yeah, I've talked to a few of the sellers, and they had some did a while ago and had no clue it had a greater stone on it. They were just like, "What's this random berserker I have selling it?"
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's crazy. All right, that was what else? Anything else on crafting, on equipment from the AMA stuff? Oh, that's all right. Sorry, I was rereading my agenda. This is something we didn't get to because we were so off kilter here. Equipment has durability and can be broken down and eventually break and no longer be usable. So with this information now, and then also crafters can become repairmen or women depending on whatever.
Nice save.
Yeah. Does this change your opinions on equipment, on crafting at all? Now that we know that like repairing is going to be an active part of the game, and we're going back here to this mode.
Guy?
I don't know if it changes anything. I think something I've been on the fence on pretty much so far is, do I need more than one crafter? And this might answer that a little bit.
I think yes. I'm not need might be the wrong word, but.
Right.
When you say more than one, you say more than one crafter,
one blacksmith, one armor smith, one tailor, like the recipe adds a little bit to it of like, yeah, maybe you want a little bit of variety there from the recipe perspective. But if repairing items will take stamina or items or some kind of skill set, maybe that justifies another need for just more of a legion of crafters.
Yeah. To me, and this opinion might change as it gets closer, but right now, like first reaction, I think I'm more likely to sell a mythic piece of equipment that I find a recipe for or that I make than to keep it, knowing that it's not a finite or that it is a finite.
Infinite.
Yeah. No, that is a finite resource, and I can use it all. Now I say that, but like I'm also gunning for PvP, and it's gonna be very tempting to put on my hero and have a go, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's
I
don't love it.
Well, obviously they'll give more. I hope they give more details on it, before it goes live. But I think I don't think it's going to be like one and done. I think it's going to be a very dramatic, long process where you can repair it multiple times, and it's like ongoing, and they have a long longevity. Weird way of phrasing that, but I don't think it's going to be so dramatic that you should be fearful of keeping it or not,
Well, so, but, and Cassius makes a good point here. Like, is it going to cost tiers to make and mend equipment? Maybe tiers, maybe not. But like, it's going to cost something, right?
Sure.
And
yes,
I would think that the more rare the equipment is, the more it's going to cost, right? And I think that's an awesome item sync. Like, I can't wait for all of this to come. But I think that plays a part in it. And then something that Dags was saying here. This goes to, I think, to Guy, to your, and I think this is another good AMA question. Your idea of like, hey, do I just need one blacksmith? Do I just need one leather worker?
Right.
I think the amount that you have are gonna affect how quickly you get it done. I think it might take a month if you only have one. Maybe not a month, but I think it'll take an extended period of time if you only have one. But if you have, 10 good leather crafters that you're throwing at it, leather workers, whatever.
Yeah. I also really like that idea, especially because it's going to be based on land, and land might be tied to guilds. So like if you have a guild land and everyone in the guild is working together on like one piece of equipment, it'll be very quick,
Do you think you'll be able to do that for equipment? Like I see buildings being
maybe
guild oriented.
Well, yeah, maybe you're right, but in general, but they also said that you can sell stalls in whatever you have to like other people. So it's going to be interesting of like landowners who aren't necessarily attached to a guild will have multiple individual stalls where people will be like crafting their things for a long time, or the guild ones will have like all guild people working on one item, and that'll be kind of a strategy or decision that landowners and or players have to make of like, do you join a guild and join this like group where like
I don't know if I love that though.
I really like that because then, or you could go to the stalls.
So if you think of it from a recipe perspective, of if you've got the super rare item, you could just like pool a bunch of people to make endless amounts of the super rare item. Is that what you're saying?
If you're not part of a guild and you like walk into the land and say like, hey, I have this item, I have the recipe for the fire sword of fire. I need 30 people to help me make it, and like you.
Well, but wait, hold on. I think we're getting off. They don't all have the recipe, and I think that kind of Guy, what you just said, kind of dispels what I was just saying about having like 30 people.
So they can't work on it at all unless they have
Right. I mean, maybe
unless
it's the type
you
of thing
go to
where
like a mining strategy in the sense of you've got your lead miner and supporting miners. But I don't know if I like that.
That could be.
I like that a lot.
But still, Maddie, I don't know why you're kind of bringing the guild into it though, because you're still only spitting out one piece of equipment.
All right, or guild is the wrong way, but like if you could convince multiple people to be like assistants,
buy your own heroes. Why are you trying to use my heroes to do it? That's what
that's a good point. But in my mind, it's somebody. It's a small wallet who happened to get lucky and hit on the recipe, and then he walks into the land and is like, hey, I don't have much, but I have this recipe. Like, can you guys help me out and we'll split the profits? And normally he wouldn't be able to do that, but because there's this function of like, if people work together, it gets created faster, I just like that idea of like anybody could happen to find a recipe and like, and then could work out for them, But like, yeah, I see what you mean. I
think it goes too far down the min-maxing of you literally have 10,000 heroes working on the same two items.
There would probably be an upper limit. I mean, the same way
are we both
can have
clicking?
the same way that you have like a lead miner for your locked crystal and 5 supporting it. I think there would be a limit like that too. But
right.
Yeah, I don't see it being cross wallet the way you're describing. I don't know. I feel like that functionality would be really cool in theory, but like hard to hard to make with not enough reward in doing so.
I mean, I'm not even thinking. Yeah, I'm not even thinking about like blockchain or shit like that. And you're right, it will be hard. I'm just thinking of like the Wild
Cassius
West.
is all over
game
you.
Mechanic.
No, I'm just thinking of like the Wild West. Like this guy walks into town, we've never seen him before, and he's like, "Let's do this. Let's build the fire sword of fire."
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Who's this guy?" But then they do it.
Takes
and
out his
create
recipe.
it. Yeah, exactly. Like it's so cool, that idea. But yeah, you're right. I think it's a little bit tougher than what I'm. It will be harder to enact actually.
I mean,
I do agree with Wowie. I think work orders make sense there. Like that's a way to do it.
What do you mean?
So rather than like everyone working on this quest together of the fire sword of fire, it's going to take 100 work orders. That is equivalent of like 100 heroes at 25 stamina. And you being the crafter can rent out your work orders to build it faster.
Okay. But then you're paying those people essentially.
Right.
So basically it's filling in all the legwork. Like you pay out the people to do the bullshit work, and then like you're the finishing.
You're putting the finishing touches.
Yeah,
touches,
and like you
touching on it,
the
opening the
fire,
crystal or whatever. If you will.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think like just to kind of bring it back to like big picture, a lot of what we just said was wrong. A lot's probably right because I'm pretty confident we know our shit. But it just based on that conversation, like there are so many kind of things that crafting opens up. I can see why the team is excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Like this is like there's so much like having an economy without crafting is kind of like a fake economy. Like once you add this piece in, I think it really kind of rounds things out and makes it very interesting.
I agree. I think and shout out to Wowie. He's been chatting in the chat, but he on his he does Monday night streams that I usually join him for, and he's been shouting out crafting as like going to be the main gameplay of the game. So
and one of my favorite elements in game. I'd probably prefer it more than combat, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's what he said too. He said that too.
Well, so wait, shout out to Wowie for a different thing. I didn't catch last night's stream. I woke up this morning and saw that it happened, and I was like, oh, that bastard's on Twitch. I'm not going to be able to watch this. And then I saw he posted it to YouTube.
Yeah, he posted to YouTube now.
So it's now being posted the next day to YouTube?
Yes.
Because that's awesome. So everyone go follow Wowie's YouTube channel.
Yeah, he's been doing... Great. He says it's like probably the next day he posts them. So
that's perfect because I wanted to listen to it. I started it, and then we started streaming. So
don't worry.
But I'm going to
shout out to Dags, who shouts out to Wowie.
Shout out to Dags, who's shouting out to Wowie.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. We had Bolon on, and we didn't get much from him. We tried to pull some alpha, but he was pretty.
He doesn't have the alpha.
No, he doesn't have the alpha. Yeah, he doesn't know. All right, we talked durability. We talked crafting. Pets. This is what we were going to talk. Pets in duels is what we wanted to talk about. So, pets right now, the only functionality they have, you can feed them, but the only functionality they have when attached to a hero is that they give a bonus in duels. They have to be well fed to be attached, to be bonded. I did it for a couple of mine. I did like a regular treat just for like cheap, and attached it to like a few of my like top, like my level like 13s and 14s. I only have one level 14, but because I know those ones are my solo duelists. Duelists? Mm-hmm. Is that the right word? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
And so I put like rare ones on them. I don't really have any legendaries. I have one legendary, but I put rare ones on them, and I think it's a +3, so it's like kind of whatever. And I made sure that the ones I attached them to were foragers and fishers that had matching. There's like one level 12 I have who is a gardener who I didn't put a pet to because I didn't have the bonus for a gardener. Because once they're bonded, it's like a bitch to unbond them. So
24 hours.
Yeah, so I only bonded ones that had the like matching bonus. So the question is, with duels being the only bonus, have you guys bonded any? Or are you thinking about your strategy of what pets you're going to bond?
I have not yet.
Yeah.
I just haven't been dueling yet.
Right.
Specifically because I think level 10 profession quests are coming now, like this week, and
Right.
I want to kind of sit down, like in complete silence, like shut everything off, like nobody talk to me,
Sure.
and really go through my pets and see what I want where.
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting that like, what if my, my heroes that are my top heroes that I use for solo duels, what if they're minors? Like I'm now going to be attaching. You need at least some pet on there, right? If you're going to be competitive in duels, I would say you need a mythic, but like you need rare plus at the very least.
Yeah. Again, I only attach rare plus to my top ones, and I think it's only +3. It's not that dramatic. The +4 or
Right.
+5 for legendary or mythic is, and I can see that being kind of turning the tides for you, but it's not. It's like only +1 for a common, +2 for an uncommon. I mean,
right. But I guess if you're trying to be competitive in duels, like
right.
near the tops in duels, right? Then you have to be putting on, I would say, a mythic, right? Well, let's just go with that.
Yeah.
I love your cutoff of like +3 is not significant, but +4 or 5, whoa. No, but
I mean,
but so
do you
point.
Check your duels and see how close it is that often? I mean, it's
never.
usually not a point or two. It's usually more than that. Like the difference between your wins and losses.
For the purpose of this conversation, right? You need a mythic on your top duelers.
Right.
So now am I going to be wasting a pet and putting a fishing or foraging pet on a minor?
Yeah.
Specifically because he's going into duels, because a lot of my top PvP heroes are minors. The Dragoons specifically.
Sure. Yeah.
Dark Knights, things like that. I have a lot of minors. So I think it's going back to the game theory of DFK, it's making me make that decision. Is this mythic hero more beneficial in duels? Or, and this is probably the answer, is it more beneficial just doing the profession quests and utilizing that bonus that it's giving you? I don't know.
So you're saying put it on a pet, put the pet on a hero that might not necessarily be dueling, just to get the bonus from whatever the pet has, and kind of forego any dual bonus that you may or may not be getting.
Right. Yeah, I mean, maybe not forgo it. I mean, you're gonna want some pet on there.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just, and Sir Worm brings up a good point here. How far behind are the mining pets? We were kind of led to believe not that far.
We'll see. I mean,
because
okay.
all the functionality of the mining eggs are there. They just need to create the art of it, and I feel like the art is
there's a million
relatively fast compared to what we had to figure out for how these pets were actually going to work.
What I think they're also going to have a hard time coming up with the bonuses for mining, because there's just less to it, right? Yeah. There's gold mining, there's locked jewel mining, or locked, crystal and jade mining, I should say.
Yep.
Like there aren't all these different items that they can play off of for the bonuses. And the other thing, what are we gonna use to hatch them? Is it gonna be just a shit ton of gold? Because like I don't hate that, making it a giant gold sink, but like there are literally no other items that they could pick from. And then when it comes to
use jewel or jade, but yeah.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's something that they do. I mean, but then even taking it a step further, once we get to gold eggs, and I know this is probably very far out, but like, what are you going to, maybe tiers to hatch those? I don't know. Just kind of guessing things.
Runes? Like those low-level runes would be fun.
Could be.
To burn the... Because at that point, hopefully, we're on, tier 3 runes, and those early ones aren't as...
The Shavas?
The Shavas don't have as much value,
I actually have a theory about Shavas runes.
Oh boy, let's hear it.
Hold
on. We were playing around with this earlier. How do I... Nope. Shit. How do I make it you, though? How do I make you big?
Yeah, we're going to need to cut all this. It's a good viewing.
Just Maddie now.
Great viewing experience.
You have to click your.
Not gonna do it. Anyway, Spass runes. I feel like you set me up now, and it's not that great of a take.
No.
I think that now with 90% of the hero population is going to be going to level 10 quests, right? Suddenly,
sure.
Got 90% a guess number there.
Yeah.
If
a high number, yeah.
And here's where I'm making the assumption and kind of speculating that the drop rate for Spass runes maybe won't be as high for level 10 quests, and maybe Moksha runes it'll be higher.
I'd agree with that.
Now are we all of a sudden going to see a bit of a supply crunch for Spass runes because people won't be doing the level 0 quests, and there are still heroes being summoned. There's still level 1 through
people have insane
10
stockpiles,
heroes,
though. I think right now.
Yeah.
How many are in circulation?
Do you have the means to check that?
I do.
Those are inflationary, and people have been questing like crazy.
But I do, like, going to a WoW reference, like the most expensive items in WoW are like the second tier items. So it would be more like the level,
because everyone moves
once
on
level
it,
100 comes out, like level 10 is the most expensive items.
Right.
I think Sir Murr makes another good point. Moksha rune shortage is going to continue, even with higher drop rates, because
I agree.
We're going to have more heroes entering into that level 10 plus. Yeah, and then WoW is saying it's so many runes to get to level 20.
No, I know. Well, how many?
So there's 1.2 million. Is that what that says?
Million.
Okay. Maybe it won't be.
I mean, it's a lot. How many heroes are there? There's 600,000 heroes, though.
Right.
So.
And rising.
Yeah.
And people vote no. We don't want to explore the cooldown.
So there could. You're right. There could be this crunch here.
Yeah, that definitely.
Maybe not a total crunch, but like a slight crunch.
I agree.
Should I? Do we have anything else, or should I summon my Gen Zeros?
No, all right. Final thing is today we got a fun Gen Zero summon at the end of the night. That was our final.
Are you summoning guy? What are you doing?
Agenda. I've got a spell bow attempt. I'll sneak.
Oh, guys got one.
It's on Clayton now.
All right, you get yours set up. Actually, you just do yours. I'm not set up either. While you're doing that, though, I do want to show one thing. Has anybody ever seen this button before?
No. What is that? Zoom in. Can you zoom in?
I don't think I can.
Don't worry about it.
Lock time. So my I'm clicking on the stream on the screen. So you guys didn't see my mouse going over it anyway. So my lock jewel on this account. So I set right when power-ups first came out, I did like 4 months at a high amount of jewel because I didn't want to lock it up for 3 years, and I didn't kind of realize like, hey, you could do a very small amount of jewel if you do the 3 years. So it's finally coming up, and it's giving me this like message to like, hey, don't you want to relock this? Like, it's coming up, you could extend. And so I guess your power-ups will be canceled when your locking time ends. I kind of thought you do the locking time and it kind of just extends. Well, it's unlocked, but as long as it's in there, you're good to go. I'm assuming
it's like first in, first out situation. Like,
no, so what it says is
do you not have enough to cover your power-ups right now? If this were removed.
What do you mean?
Like, this is all of his lock jewel.
Oh, all right.
All of his siege.
Okay, then yeah.
Well, no, but so it says, if the lock time lapses, all active power-ups will be canceled and cannot be reactivated until the full hold time has expired. Right. The whole time's become So I kind of thought that like, hey, once my lock time's up, as long as the jewel that's in there doesn't leave, the power-ups stay. Not the case.
So it even if you don't remove it,
the power-ups are going to be canceled.
The power-ups will be canceled. Well, interesting. Wait, but does it auto pull it from Seajewel?
I
don't know. I'll tell you in 1 day, 10 hours, 6 minutes, and 55 seconds.
I only did it for 3 months, and I'm pretty sure it stays in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take it out. Again, I did way too much. I did like 500 jewel for 4 months. when then I realized on my bot account I could just do like I realized the jewel I actually want to stake should just be on a separate account. And my bot account I have the 3 years, 30 jewel, good to go. Yeah. Are you ready, guy?
Let's summon. Yeah, what do you got, guy?
That was just
ready.
to save time.
So I just clicked the wrong button.
Oh, I just got a new alert.
Oh boy.
Crafter.
Yep.
Get it. Wow, he's gonna beat you.
He doesn't know what it is.
We're probably on delay.
Yeah, I'm going for a Giant Slayer spellbow though. That is my goal.
Holy shit.
So that is a shapeshifter. No color. Foraging. Not great. And
oh boy. Oh boy.
So, yeah, that's
Sorry,
a loser.
bud. Sorry, bud.
In the one before this, I rented with Sarge, and that spellbow attempt got me a seer. So that wasn't
that the one he screwed up though? Wasn't that the one he like?
Yeah, we're still off a summon. We still haven't fixed it.
Yeah.
We probably should fix it, but
all right, I got it. So you want to know what I got now?
What'd you get?
So 82.5 crystal.
Ooh.
Let me see who sold it. Infornia, never heard of him. 82.5 crystal. I got an uncommon summoner wizard.
Holy shit.
Fisher.
Cool.
Dark element, double alchemy.
That's awesome.
For 82.5 crystal.
And it's that's one
What's
of the
fishing
crafting...
floor? What's the fishing floor right now? It
alchemy
can't be that much lower.
Alchemy is luck and intelligence, so intelligence is super high for
And luck kind of mixes with the professional.
Sure.
The fishing floor is 70 crystal. So for 12 above fishing floor, I got that.
That's a great grab.
I mean, I will say yes, that's a great grab as long as crafting is what we think it's going to be, you know?
In the next 6 months.
I just want to say there is a little bit of speculation in what you're doing. Now, granted, I'm pretty confident crafting is going to be important and blue and matching element is going to be a bonus. But you should kind of, you know, put a little caveat on that of like, as long as crafting is what you think it is, you know?
Do you think they're going to make crafting shit?
No, I'm just saying like it's.
Do you think matching the element will be worse than not having the matching element?
I mean, yeah, the element matching, it's always going to be good, and that's why I think for sure.
To me, what you just said is like, do you believe in the game? Because if you believe in the game,
right, well, all right,
then you got to believe that they're going to make crafting good.
Fair. Yeah. No, I think you're right. You're right.
Mellow Green Giant, for some reason, people are buying gold eggs off the decks for more than they cost on the vendor right now. So that's a little alpha. And to add to that, it just jogged my memory a little more alpha. I noticed my helper account is selling a lot of items to the vendor rather than on the decks because it's a better price. So for anyone manually selling your items, make sure you check that vendor. And also, it's good for the ecosystem if you sell it to the vendor because they just get burnt, I think.
Yes.
Rather than staying in the ecosystem.
Oh, wow, look at this. Someone bought a shitload of eggs. That's what did it.
Ooh, interesting. I think Sassy Franz is here to stay. I like this.
You got a summon? Franz?
Yeah. I don't have it set up though because I was doing that. Hold on. Guy, do you
Who's the controller now?
94,000 gold for a gold egg versus 50,000 at the vendor.
That's insane.
Wow.
That's wild.
Sell 9 of those eggs.
Should I be arbing this right now?
Yeah.
That takes too much work. Someone else arb this for me.
I'm doing it.
For you?
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking screen. So we got some nice Gen Zeros here that we're going to summon together. Nothing special, just typical. Well, actually, I mean, not nothing special. So it's subclass can be a summoner.
Nice.
And on the backs, we have, what is this? 1, 2, 3 chances at
This
advanced. We are not using a stone. Hope Grady's not watching.
No, it's a Gen 0 summons, you should never use a stone.
Somebody clip
I'll stand
that.
by that. I'll stand by that.
And then the other one, we also have 3 chances for advanced and a Dark Knight sub.
Ooh.
Wait, this is a second Gen 0 pair?
Yeah.
Did they not? Are they not level? You didn't use the tiers?
No.
Why not?
I'm selling these.
Yeah, but who cares? Like a little bonus would be fun.
Is the +1 on intelligence gonna make it sell for more?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I'm going against a lot of people in the community by not doing this.
Why not?
Watch, I'm gonna get something nasty and mythic right now.
That's not what I clicked. That's what I clicked.
Legendary vibes.
Whale
The hell,
stream
Eric's here.
confirmed.
Mythic vibes.
Grady is gonna cry when he watches this.
He's not gonna be happy. Here we go.
Here we go. All right. Let's
Mythic
see it.
shapeshifter.
Berserker.
Eh,
Rare. Fuck, I'll take it. 10 out of 10 rare.
Fishing.
Berserker? Are you kidding me?
Oh, that was the other thing. These are all supposed to be foragers.
Oh, interesting.
Because spellbow.
Fishing. Yeah. Ooh, ouch. No, nothing there.
No recessives either.
I'll take the rare though. You kidding me?
Oh, no, I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah. This one's gonna be mythic.
Mythic. Here we go. The last time I hit a legendary was on the stream. And it
That's
still
it.
hasn't sold. That was the other thing. I hit that on stream like weeks ago. That Berserker I was trying to sell people.
We just don't. We don't get to enough people.
Oh,
They're
all right, rare.
You asshole! You look, you hitting
This
shit.
this one's gotten advanced. I can feel it. What the shit?
Oh, ouch! Ouch!
You ever you want to go back and check your pairs? It's like, is this a match?
Yeah, did I do the wrong one?
I never hit it. All right, that's a good end to the stream. I'm happy.
2 rares. Yeah, those are huge hits.
If someone wants them, DM me. You're gonna pay full price.
Question from the audience. Six intern, is rare good?
For you non-whales out there, maybe.
Yeah, don't answer.
For us whales on this whale podcast, not good
Yeah.
enough.
Oh boy. Don't say
I just
that.
want to go back to this a little bit more. Just if anyone wants to buy
I
these
get you
heroes.
mine. I have a ton on sale right now too, because I've been dark summoning and I
But
hit.
these are reasonable prices. These
Yeah,
are priced to sell.
I put my legendary ninja is up for 2,000. And I think that's very high.
Yeah, it might be a little high. Why? What's special about it? Why 2,000?
Summoner recessive, and
that's
it
solid.
has 1 advanced.
2,000?
Fuck you guys.
Okay.
Somebody will buy it if I leave it up for a month.
These have any advanced? No, no advanced there. No advanced there.
No.
But they both have summoner subclass.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
Is that the spellbow common floor, like 800? Or 400?
that's a good question. Well, so 3 of 3, I think it might be the floor.
That's a 3 of 3. It's a common.
3 of 3.
Yeah.
So let's see.
And I will do the
Spellbow.
sign off. I'll do the sign off very soon.
All right, so I'm a little higher than floor here. I'm 100 crystal more than floor.
700 seems very affordable. I feel like that's lower than Dragoon and Sage 3 of 3 floor.
What is this though? Miner, Gardener, and Gardener. Mine's a Fisher. So
A little bit better, but
Spellbows are good fishers.
yeah. All
Are
right.
we good?
Final comments. Any other points you want to make about crafting info we got, pets, gigapatch, any other notes you guys had?
Yeah, I got something.
All right, what do you got?
Whoever keeps asking about cosmetics and if they're gonna
Oh,
have
right.
like a use
Yeah.
case in the game,
Yeah.
stop it. They're cosmetics. Get over it. All right, I'm good. That's all I had.
What about
Holy
background
shit.
now? How do you feel about background?
Yeah.
Stop it.
All right. This has been Bogside Chats. My name is Matty Pesk. I was joined tonight by Franz and Guy Kid. Thank you guys very much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
See you guys.
See ya.